I think I'm back now. Oh wow. My internet connection is troublesome. Let's see. Let me know when you hear me again. Oh yeah, there are people. Man, I hate my internet connection at times. That's really annoying though, because it's going to split the stream up into 2 parts now, I believe. So I hope both parts are going to be on YouTube. Maybe it's going to be 2 separate parts. Maybe it's going to be only 1/2 of the stream. Let me check quickly. Too bad. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 2 parts. Well, let me continue the stream. So what was I saying? Yeah, I feel like people kind of deserve more respect for their work, or like people should be more aware of how amazing it actually is, what all these people do. I mean, I believe that even you guys, there are definitely some of you who do some sort of job that required you to study for many years, and nobody's really getting all the like respect that they deserve. The other example that I just mentioned when the stream got cut off was that in sports, in competitive sports, people again get like lots of attention, and kind of the one correlating, what is it, thing that I see within all these things that get a lot of attention is that they're for entertainment. So it seems like everything that entertains people has the potential to really reach lots of people, really get attention. And in some sense, YouTube is sort of like that too, when you think about it, and it makes sense when you consider it as entertainment as well. So, right, so yeah, people want to be entertained, and only for entertainment they're really willing to give people the attention and the respect. And like at least as long as you speak about the general public, I guess what is it? Yeah. They will often not be able to understand how much thought process and energy goes into tasks where they don't directly get the entertainment from it. Like, it's a bit hard to understand that, you know, when you see a movie, that it's not just the actors who worked hard, it's more like the 10,000 other people who worked just as hard as the actors. So one of the things that I was thinking is that we should put more effort into making all these other professions go to entertainment, because who says that a pilot cannot be entertaining at the same time? I mean, there are so many enthusiasts about flight and all these things, and there are like famous examples of YouTubers who are pilots, and they share a lot of information, and this is how they can also reach like a huge amount of people. But anyways, that's just like a little thing that I was talking about, which is kind of a shame. It just inspires me to, in my own future, all the projects that I'm planning. One of my biggest goals is to give the artists the attention that they deserve. So should I ever have the opportunity to, start my own bigger projects and have people working together on projects, I want to make sure that the whole project leads into a direction that gives the artists in particular the attention that they deserve. Like, how nice would it be, if you studied for 10-20 years art and you're really one of the world's best artists, and then you can finally be on television too. You can go to the airport and people are waiting for you. It's kind of I don't know if everybody really desires that in first place, but I feel like it would be unfair not to give them the opportunity to be in a situation. Everybody deserves that like the feeling of being accepted, the feeling of being appreciated by the people who spend so much time and effort into making something for the people. I mean, we're all making movies because we want to, I mean, all the artists working on movies, I'm pretty sure that, you know, they just love movies, they want to share with the people something that they think is so much fun. So that's the least that we can give in return. But you know, comedy, I feel personally at least, comedy is so hard. I mean, I'm such a boring person. At least that's how I find myself. I can do art, but like beyond that, I guess many others have the same thing, like the reason why they cannot really come into this entertainment business after all. So maybe collaborations and that sort of thing is the way for many people. But on the good side, entertainment is not the only thing that people want. For this channel, I guess it's mostly education that people seek, motivation maybe, listening to stories that kind of inspire you to, you know, pick up pen and paper and or tablet and computer, whatever it is, and to get started working. I personally seek channels like this one for the same reason, to kind of always get something out of it, to learn something, to improve. And I think it works in that way. However, for the broad masses, I guess it's not what they seek. After all, only a very small number of people actually works hard towards becoming a good artist. So that's recently what I was thinking. I guess one of the reasons how I got started thinking about this whole topic is that I was watching a baseball game the other day. Which teams was it again? The Kyushu Hawks. That's like one of the teams in Japan against the Tokyo something. Sorry for the baseball fans out there. I'm not really too informed about all of that, but it was really impressive. It was fun to watch. And so I was thinking, can art become something like that? Could art be something performed on stage, maybe a team sport, competitive, to give artists who want to be get more attention, give them the opportunity to compete and to show off their skills, and to also entertain people, not directly but indirectly, like sort of in the system. Because, I mean, just take it for example, soccer players are not entertainers as well, they're just good at what they're doing. However, the system kind of turns it into something that's very entertaining to watch for people. But kind of with art being a very slow-paced thing, I thought it was very difficult to come up with anything. And let's see, my skull is taking shape. Do you guys have any thoughts on that topic? Curious about your opinions. Also, I always wonder about the difference of, you know, being satisfied with local success, let's call it that way, or if it has to be more globally, because you can pretty much get the same amount of satisfaction out of you know, out of just being known by the people who live really near you. If you just work really hard for your local environment, you can get a lot out of it, I believe. Right, art may be slow moving for crowds to like. That's so true. And it's really hard to put it to something fast-paced. Yeah, and I totally agree. Scientists deserve just as much attention. I personally love, you know, listening to their stories and to what they come up with. And they can be so interesting. I mean, they're very different personalities usually, but they're really a lot more interesting, in my opinion, in most cases. I wonder what artists would think about it, now that you mention it, serial killer. um, because there are so many different kinds of artists as well, right? There are artists who, you know, take everything from a very emotional aspect, who think, you know, they just draw for their own entertainment and they feel that everything has a meaning, and that sort of artist. And then there's artists for whom everything is like science. They think about atmosphere and perspective and light rays and all that sort of thing. And, you know, artists might not even want to work in teams because, you know, they have their own passion, their own story they want to share. But in the team, they would have to find something together. So there's just so many questions coming into it. But then again, I guess the same would go for sports. I mean, it doesn't mean that everybody wants to do the same sport, but I guess if you make a system where, you know, the ones who agree can join and the others don't have to, well, only the ones who are interested in first place would gather, but I'm not sure if that's a solution in any way. It's interesting what Philippe. I'm really struggle with your pronunciation. Anyways, what he or she mentions in the comment, that once you get into a topic, you will be able to enjoy watching it as well. So that makes kind of sense too. That you kind of need to be able to relate to what you're watching. With sports, I wonder why with sports it's so easy. Maybe because it's not too complex, or maybe because we do it ourselves, because everybody sometimes goes out and plays with friends soccer, and you know how difficult it is to make a strong shot or something. What other story do I have? Well, let me know if you have any questions anyways. I can talk about some other topic that you want to talk about, if you have anything. Otherwise, I'll be focusing on the sculpt a little bit. One thing maybe I realized recently about interaction with people, maybe. People are quite selfish, but you can't blame them for it, I believe. And what I mean by that is that, you know, sometimes you ask yourself, I'm trying to be so what is it? When you ask yourself why some people appreciate another and why for others that isn't the case. I feel that in the end people are selfish in a way that they always they want to be around people who benefit them in some way, even if it's not something that's spoken out loud. And it can be something very subtle, such as, you know, if I'm around this person, it gives me energy, it gives me motivation. Then, you know, a person will want to be around somebody. But sometimes you have a case where, you know, you feel like you can benefit being around another person, but that person doesn't get anything from you. And so then it's a very one-sided thing where the other person, you know, might have less interest in being around you, but you try to get attention from that person. And it's in that situation oftentimes very confusing, because you don't understand why the person is so cold and mean, and, you know, just being around a person should be fun. But people often forget that whenever they want something from a person, they shouldn't think about how they can get what they want. They should think about what can I return, because only when you really return something, they will be willing to give what you want. And it's nothing to, I think people should think about consciously, but as kind of a life, a way of living life, I guess, it makes sense to always think about what you yourself can give to people, because otherwise it won't be surprising that people might avoid you, because if they don't find anything you have to give in return, it can be knowledge, it can be entertainment. That's why we have like all these different personalities in classes usually. Like there's a person who entertains the people, there's a person who knows a lot, but then there's also people who don't really stand out because they don't have much to share. But that's just my explanation. I feel that that's why it's our own responsibility to make ourselves interesting. Make sure that you have something special that others can come and seek from you, and you have more than enough to seek from others as well. Subtle things like, well, social interactions. I mean, people need that to some extent. And I feel that's kind of a really positive way to move on in kind of society, because people shouldn't try to, you know, if people always try to get the benefit over another, be the top and stuff, then it's not about that really. It would be so much nicer if we just share with one another, and everybody should understand that, you know, they have to give something back as well. As long as you yourself do your best to give back, you know, everything should be really smooth and fine. But it took me a long time to realize that. Personally, I guess I struggled a lot with that in high school. I guess the first thing that made me a person that people wanted to talk to was me actually starting out with 3D. Like when I was 12 years old, I started doing that, and that was the first time people really gave me some attention, because I had something that they were interested in, basically. And I guess because it was the only thing for me back then, it really got me motivated to stay in this field. Of course, my motives changed after a while, but just to give you an idea where how you know, in the past I kind of struggled with that, but how it became more clear in recent times. Sort of like that. Oh, thanks for the comments, by the way. I don't really think I'm that far yet, like that great in 3D yet, but thanks for calling me talented. I learned everything pretty much by myself. I never had the opportunity to learn 3D in school or something, and I feel like I still have a really far way to go. Oh, and sorry for skipping that one question. I'm using a pen tablet, a vacuum pen tablet, and the software is ZBrush. I should mention, because always some people wonder about that. Max poly count for 3D printing? I don't really think there is anything like that. I mean, the more polys you have, the more computing power you will need to convert the files, and the longer it will take. But I mean, is there an upper limit to the resolution of a photo? As long as you have enough computing power, there is not an issue. But the question is more whether it makes sense. I mean, if you have a sculpt that is, let's say, 10 centimeters high, if the resolution is smaller than 1/10 of a millimeter, will you even be able to see the difference? So think about it in voxels maybe, and one unit should, I mean, if it's smaller than 1/10 of a millimeter, it doesn't make much sense. Also, if your model doesn't even have details that are smaller than that, maybe, again, it doesn't make much sense. Otherwise, I mean, go with high detail. I never had a problem with that. Depends on your computer though, I guess. Another topic that recently, personally, I've been struggling with in art and all these things is how much how much one person is capable of doing. It's kind of sad to figure this out, but I start to realize more and more that me alone, I cannot learn everything to the professional level. Because recently you see me doing painting, you see me doing sculpts of realistic humans, you see me doing stylized humans, then I try to do a landscape once again. And I kind of keep failing at all of them because I can't, simply because it's almost impossible to reach this super professional level at all of them. However, on the opposite hand, if I was to focus only on, well, realistic characters, for example, it would still take me at least 10 years to master it. However, it is an achievable goal. And so I'm still not sure if that's really the final answer. But recently I feel like I almost have to make a decision at some point what I want to focus on and really invest my time into that. Going back and forth will make it difficult to kind of, I mean, you will lose some of your process as well if you don't model any humans for a while, for example. And it kind of explains why teams are so important, why only big studios can, you know, make professional games if they're, you know, more complex. And that's pretty much because you need the best people on all these fields, and a person can only really master one of these things, not all of them, is what I was kind of thinking anyways. And so I'm curious, what should I focus on? I'm not sure at all. I kind of still want to do everything. And because my goals are more in the vision, I feel like I want to, as I said before, I want to give artists more attention. I want to make movies and animations that make art, that make it more like art again. I want animations to be something out of art and not something out of a business that just wants to make money and get attention. So in order for me to reach that, it feels like I have to know everything. Because if I'm just a participant in a team, if I'm just a character modeler, it seems difficult for me to gather like the members, to like overlook a team with all those skills. So I wonder where I'm going to end up with all of this. Do what you really love, that's good. Yeah, definitely. Have I finished an animation or a game? I have done like a demo of a game once as my graduation project for high school. It's called the Project Core game. It's on my YouTube channel. There are a couple of videos of it. I never really finished the series. I'm sorry for that, but that's one of the things I worked on. And there are some short animations, but they don't really make too much sense. But it's again, you know, I might be good at one skill, but then I'm lacking other skills. For example, for animation and games, actually both of them, I would need a good story, a good idea. But while I'm good at making ideas become reality, I'm pretty bad at coming up with the ideas. For me, I can see value in almost any idea. And so this is how I feel very powerless myself, alone as an individual. But the only way to really get the respect of other artists who are really talented is to become the best myself at something. It's kind of connecting back to the concept that I was just giving before. I mean, I cannot expect anybody, any other artist to work with me if I cannot give them the value. It's not them working for me, it's me doing something for them. And so I really have to get my motivation out of that. I must be wanting to do something for the other artists, and I need to be able to guarantee that to them, because they will be spending hundreds and hundreds of hours on a project that I would get them into, and they really need to be sure that, you know, they get something out of it. It could be money, that's something that people usually accept as a guarantee, but if it's not money, then it would have to be a very strong motivation from another source, like learning, experience, something along those lines. I don't have a job in 3D at the moment. I'm a university student. Yes. But I have 3 years to graduate, like before I graduate here, and you know my goals at this point, I believe. I really want to, and I think YouTube is what's eventually going to allow me to do that. After I graduate, I hope to make this my full-time activity, so we're talking about such a long term, but please look forward to it. Right now, the channel might still be slow-paced and everything, but in 3 years, I hope to really take off and do more, get connected with lots of artists. Oh, but I can tell you a little bit about my current efforts. I realized that you know, you can't connect that well with people online, and I will need to have connections to lots of people in the future. So one thing that I can do right now in order to work towards that future that I'm aiming for is to connect with people. And so again, going by the concept of, you know, do something for the people, don't expect them to do anything. Just go there and talk with them and appreciate what they're doing, and you know, you will make good connections. You will get something back eventually. Like, don't go with that motivation, of course. Like, that's kind of what I'm trying to say all throughout this video, but genuinely try to just, you know, give people something. But I feel like this will eventually make you happy as well, because you will get something out of it. Anyways, what I will be doing is I will be going to another university in Oita City, and I will be teaching 3D there. I just volunteered, and, you know, I sent them a mail because I met them once after finding out about them. There's a circle that does 3D and Blender, and they're quite interested, and they were very appreciative as well. So I decided I would just go there and teach them twice a month, and they were really happy about hearing that as well. So it's in both directions a very happy thing. I get also the chance to learn Japanese because I'll be teaching in Japanese, which is like a first ever experience for me. I have no idea how I'm going to deal with it yet, but throughout this semester, I guess I'll learn a lot. Another project that I've started is like the meetup that I'll be doing in Kyoto and Tokyo. I've already made the video unlisted, but maybe you remember, if you have seen it, that I did a Japanese video a bit ago. That event is going to happen. One of them on 18th, another one on 24th. And if you're by chance in Kyoto or Tokyo, definitely let me know. I'll invite you too. And it's really interesting. Like, the people who signed up are actually people from the industry. They're like environmental artists and these sort of people from the industry who decided to come and join the hangout. And I just hope to give everybody a chance to connect. I'm definitely curious to see what everybody's working on. I'll share a lot of the informations I can share from my side. And so my plan is to do that every semester now. Every time I have a break, a spring break or a summer break, I'll be organizing like little events here and there. I will visit. Oh, I even forgot one more. There is one more university in Kyoto that has a circle that develops games and does 3D modeling and these sort of things. I'm also going to visit them on the 22nd. So I'm really looking forward to like meeting a bunch of people. They're going to show me the university a little bit, and I'll be sharing my vision, and hopefully something will happen in 3 years. I mean, I'm sure like you guys are also in some place right now, whether it's a workplace or a university. You have the opportunity to start these kind of things, gather the people yourself and do something. Even at my university, my own university, I'm thinking about starting the art circle because we don't really have one, a proper one. So me and another very good friend, we're working together on getting that started. Now I have really not been keeping up with the comments. Thanks for all the writing here. I really struggle recently with making good suggestions for you guys as for, you know, how can you learn? It's just such a struggle. Even I struggle so much at it. It just seems more and more like there is no shortcut. You just have to go through it and try over and over, fail a lot of times. Eventually you'll get there. But I guess it's true. If you have a good teacher, a good coach who can tell you what you need to learn, it's very calming. You don't have to think much about what the next step is. If you're alone, you always have to come up yourself with what the next thing is that will make you grow. So having a teacher is kind of outsourcing a lot of the thinking. I guess it has some benefits, as in speed. You will be able to make progress faster because the teacher will think for you for what's the next thing that you need to learn, and he has also the experience to make better decisions. However, I guess you'll have a broader knowledge if you struggle yourself through all of that. Little thought on that, I guess. I do some freelance work, but I only accept work during February and March, and during August and September. That is because that's the only times I have holidays, and usually I only take work for one of the 2 months because I need 1 month for my own studies. I will need to learn something after all, and another month I will use for gaining work experience basically and making some money. Shyness is a difficult point too. How do you get rid of shyness? I guess it's a lot of, I think thinking a lot can get you out of shyness, because if you ask yourself, why are we shy? At some point it starts to not make any sense. There is no reason to be shy. I guess many people are shy because they feel like speaking up will give people an opportunity to attack you. But I don't know what to say to this, but does it really matter? I mean, you should know for yourself who you want to be the best, and as long as you do everything out of a good motivation, if you can really with confidence say that I'm doing something for this reason and I know that this is the right thing to do, nobody can stop you. If they say something bad about you, they're just going to make fun of themselves basically, because they're just not able to understand the good intentions that you have. So I feel like honestly being a good person is like one of the best ways to like get out of that. Another thing that can help you is to just do some crazy things that challenge yourself, do some things that you would never have thought would be possible for you. The experience that was for me, one of those challenges was being a paramedic. I was really pushed into that. I've never expected to become one, but it just happened that I had to do this job in Austria, to work for a year as a paramedic, and in fact it was the one job out of all the choices that I would have had that I wanted to do the least, but it turned out to be the best I could have possibly done. And it taught me so much, like speaking to people with confidence. I mean, if you're a paramedic, people expect you to be knowledgeable about, you know, their medical emergencies. You can't go there and be like, well, I studied that, and I think that's dangerous, but please don't worry. I think the doctors will look at you and say it's fine. They won't accept that. They will be looking at you and be like, are you paramedic or not? So as a paramedic, you really need to know what you're doing, of course. You need to study hard, and then you need to be able to say with confidence what you learned. Otherwise, the people will be just very upset. And so doing that for a year, that again taught me a lot about standing in front of people and talking with confidence. Of course, not about things that I don't know, but even saying honestly that I mean, we're not perfect, but being able to explain properly what you don't know is also part of it. Oh well, lots of talking about various topics. You guys have interesting interests, I just see. Fashion design. That sounds really good. I would love to get into that myself, but I guess I'll never be able to do everything. I liked previously the electronics too. I really like electronics as well. And 3ds Max is another thing that I want to get into, and Maya. I think Maya is the next thing that I'll be doing because I want to get into face rigging, with kind of connecting to this project even. I need to make more out of my characters. They can't be just static objects. And it seems like Maya is the most suited. At least there is the most professional reference and tutorials out there for Maya, so I'm giving it a shot. Don't use the word Maya, you mean? or motivation, I don't know, whatever. I know Blender is really nice too. Blender is wonderful. I love Blender even now. However, you can't deny that in the industry it's just not there yet. It just has not some of the features that I would need. And it's so close. It's so close to that Blender could be the big thing. And Maya is so expensive, like honestly. If you think Photoshop or ZBrush is expensive, Maya is on a different level. At least when you're a student, you're lucky because they let you use it for free, but it's kind of misleading because they teach you how to use Maya for free, and then you will have to pay like a lot. I wonder if there is a plan for like freelancers who don't get enough money to pay like everything. I really hope so. Let's continue supporting Blender. I really want them to become the one big powerful software out there. I'm curious about the new render the new render engine in Blender that will be coming, the EVEE or something. I've tried the what is it? The early build, but it misses still many features and it was kind of very difficult to use. So I'm going to wait for a bit longer until the final release of 2.8 is out. But I feel like it could be a very nice tool for NPR again and stuff like that. However, I still have lots of complaints about freestyle rendering. I feel like the lines just don't work out for me. Maybe it's that I'm not using them properly enough yet, but the thing with intersections, that we cannot have intersections, is quite annoying as a user anyways. Yeah, right, workflow and support, as OM1 is saying. Companies will have to take care of themselves pretty much for all their needs. Blender tutorials. What do you want to hear about? I feel like it's so difficult these days to make Blender tutorials because, I mean, everything is out there already. What could I possibly teach about what isn't being taught by anybody else yet? And because there's now so great artists who use Blender, they have like amazing tutorials, like really great explanations for all these things. Feel free to give me an idea if you want to hear something in Blender. Yeah, sculpting while talking is difficult, surprisingly. I would have definitely made more progress if I would not be talking. But that's also one of the reasons why it has been so difficult for me to make a character tutorial, because when talking you always give up so much attention to it. And so, you know, your brain will just do things that might not even be right, and then after a while you realize it and you have to go back and fix it. For example, I was sculpting all the details here, and then I realized, wait a second, I'm doing a simplified version. I should not do that, and so I undo that all again. But I mean, I do sculpt more than enough without you guys watching, so I'm always taking this more as a chance to talk. I mean, I feel a little bit sorry that I can't give you like a really good sculpting experience here. But I feel the stories are still worth listening to, which is why I try not to make too long breaks talking about nothing. I mean, of course, if I would just focus on it, I could make more progress, but then otherwise you guys would have to watch the video all the time, and I'm pretty sure that most people just listen, which is understandable, which is probably one of the better ways to experience these streams. I would love to do more animation, really. Let me just ask this question out of nowhere. What kind of animations would you make if you had like all the skills and abilities to make an animation? I'm really thinking about doing animation in the future. Like, that's why I'm thinking about getting more into rigging now with face animation and stuff, especially facial expressions, because animation really needs good facial expression. So why not come up with some ideas? Well, I hope you don't mind me being silent for a few moments. Animation for video games. What kind of animations would that be? Oh, you mean like... Ah, I see. You mean like animations, like walk cycles and that sort of thing for use in video games? Philippe had apparently a frustrating experience with a low budget cutout animation job. But it's good to hear that you're actually having like a real presence in the industry, basically doing actual work. I mean, at least you have the experience to say like, I have been there and you know, it wasn't fun and stuff. It's very valuable, I believe. In Brazil, I see. I personally feel like I want to find more good stories, and I always feel like I should all these things that I talk about, as for example artists and appreciation and that sort of thing, I should somehow make this kind of image, my worldview, into an animation with story. It's really difficult for me though, because my writing is really bad, which doesn't stop me from trying it, but nothing has ever gone through my quality checks. But I want to bring back movies with like very romantic images of like various professions, with lots of appreciation and respect for all the people. I want to make a world in which all these things are reality that I'm speaking of. Alright then, let's see, how long are we online? I'm thinking right now that, let me read this chat for a second. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. Anyways, I'm thinking that in this sculpt, it's very hard right now to go further without giving it full attention. I have like the rough shape, but I would need to really look closely now back and forth between the reference that I'm using and the sculpt, and simplify it and make the hard edges very carefully. I think I will leave it there with the stream, unless I can answer some more questions, but like in 5 or 10 minutes I will be calling it a day. I speak 4 languages. Weird question. I don't know how it's related to the 3D. Anyways. I speak German, English, Japanese, and Persian. Being a half of Austrian and Iran, basically. But I've never been to Iran, so I can't read or write. I can only speak like on the level that you would need for, well, living with a family, I guess. Animation tutorials would be cool. I'll try. I'll make a character, then I'll do rigging, then I'll teach you rigging, then I'll learn animation, then I'll teach you animation, okay? Does that sound good? And on the streams, I will show you my struggle trying to learn it. Oh hey, Austrians. I used to live in Vienna. Now I'm in Japan. Sounds like a plan indeed. Thanks so much guys for the appreciation. I mean, I'm really appreciating you guys for coming here and listening to just me rambling about various topics. Like, you're doing me a huge favor with that. I am just trying to help out to some extent, but seeing people appreciating that help is like, that's when I feel like it really pays off that I'm around here and doing this, and what motivates me to keep it doing. So thanks a lot for joining. I kind of wish that's why money would be less of an issue, because we have to make money, right? So even if you want to use all the money to help people, you still have to find ways to make money, and that can make it difficult to focus on your goals of helping people. But anyways, one last good question that I see here from OM1. If do I intend to use 3D in anime? And it's a good question, because I really wonder if that's the goal that we should be aiming for. I feel that 3D is a powerful tool to allow us to be more productive in anime and animation, and making better layouts, planning it better, making work for animators more easy. But to some extent I feel that hand painting gives us more creative freedom, and if we want to make animation that can be called an artwork rather than just another piece, like, of course entertainment too, but like if we want to make something that has more artistic value, where we want to be very, very specific about every single element that we put into our scene, then I feel that we might want to stick with drawing for the actual production of the show. So nevertheless, I'll stick with 3D to support the team, to plan everything, to be able to lead and to manage any production. However, the way it will be produced, I think there's innovation needed anyways. Maybe it's not even drawing only, it's probably a hybrid, a mix between various technologies. But I feel that we need something that's not just 3D, and something maybe that's not just 2D as well. Yeah, Hoseki no Kuni was amazing. Yeah, it was really cool. That's when I really understand that story can really make a show perfect. I mean, in that case, in the case of this show, even the graphics were amazing, but the story really made it all. I mean, it's so creative, just the characters being crystals and the moon man coming to get them, and it's just very creative and very symbolic and great to watch in many ways. So not sure how much the graphics really matter, to some extent even. Maybe we just need the best stories, the most rich stories that we can come up with. So I wonder what it will be in the end. I decided to, well, at least for now, I decided to stick with character art to make it my main thing, to support all teams in this kind of aspect. But eventually, for story and everything, other people will have to work hard, I guess, and be innovative and stuff. Yeah, Disney's Paperman is interesting, 3D and 2D. Exactly, yeah. I actually ended up making quite some progress here, even though I said I'll just do 5 more minutes. I start to feel like that's kind of a nice object to start out working with. Like, the next thing that I'll be doing is to put a skin on top of this and to try to make a face, basically. But like, I don't have much to talk about, so I guess I'll not do that live. It's always so hard to stop when I get into flow. I'm like, I'll do one more thing. I'll do one more thing and then I'll stop it. And then I keep working. No, but I should spend some more time to make this a little bit better. but that will take some more concentration. I can share it next time in the stream again, I suppose. Like, what is the outcome? This is called the temporal line, by the way. Anatomy. I love it, and it's difficult at the same time. Alright then, everybody. Thanks for joining. This is the sculpt that we made today. I'm really sorry for messing up the stream with the connection. It's going to be 2 parts, like what's going to be uploaded on YouTube, because the internet connection broke away midway. But I guess whoever is really interested in the story and in what I was talking about will have no problem. Other than that, thanks for joining. Have a good day or night or whatever time it is at your side. See you next time.